Glad to have you back on this segment, and if you're just joining us, you're right on time because the show is just about to begin. And today on Engendered, we're going to be discussing emotional abuse. We know where there are different aspects of abuse, but today we choose to focus on emotional abuse, and we're going to be doing that today. If I could say subtitles, I would have said it, but media doesn't permit us to use some kind of title.
What are you talking about?
So permit me to introduce to you
the ruling. I knew this was an ambush.
This is Lois Tofunmi. No, not Tofunmi.
No, it's still Tofunmi. It's my second name is Tofunmi, so it's Lois Tofunmi Amele now.
It's Lois Tofunmi. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The last time we had her on the show, she was Miss Lily. Can you show them? Just do small like
Jesus. And it's beautiful.
Thank you. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm okay, I'm great.
How's the whole wedding? She looks different. I told her earlier.
That's not true. It's been good. A lot of people have been projecting their bad marriage experiences on other people. And it got me scared at some point when I was about getting married. You just hear people say, this 1 + 1 in the sexual and gender-based field. So a lot of people just brought up all of that, and I was scared at some point, and I'm like, I've not even entered, I'm already getting scared.
Yeah,
you know, but going in, my husband is an amazing man. He's an amazing man, so I would say I give that to him. It has been amazing. It has been a smooth ride.
Beautiful. God, I want to get married.
The fact when people try to also show the good part of marriage, because every day people are shouting men as scum, but women are picking their scum every Saturday. People are shouting men as scum, women as scum, marriage don't last, our parents endured marriage, we're not in. So it's good to see when marriage works. I'm an advocate of marriage.
Me too.
So please, marriage is still good.
You know, Pastor Mildred was saying something the other day, and she said that a lot of people that their marriages are bad are always talking about it, but people that their marriages are good, they don't talk about it, and that's the problem. When a good thing happens, people don't talk about it, but when a bad thing happens, everybody just talks about it. So I think if your marriage is good, and if you are enjoying some things around you, it's good to talk about it. We know that Nigeria is not as we want it to be, but we're praying that it's better. You know, so it's important that if there's something good in your environment, instead of talking about the traffic, talking about one thing that is wrong, talking about this person that is breaking up, just talk about the good aspects as well. The person that his own thing is getting bad can pick 1 or 2 from yours and learn from it, and get better.
Do you know what I just noticed? Lois always has something to say. She has not entered the marriage completely. She already has a textbook for us. Oh my God! She's in 1 year.
That's why we keep inviting her.
Very soon we're going to call her.
Don't worry, I'll be here. I'll bring past questions.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're talking about emotional abuse today, and I would like you to let us know what emotional abuse is.
Okay, so emotional abuse is one topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about. Sorry for deviating a little. And I looked into research into a school, and they said they had sexual and gender-based violence. They had 60%, but emotional abuse was 50% of that 60%. So it's a lot. So emotional abuse is not a physical violence that happens to people. So you don't get to see bit marks. You don't get to see all of these things that you say, this is the evidence. So police, this is the evidence. Emotional abuse has to do with control, isolation, frustration, humiliation, and a lot of things. So it has to do with your mental state. It has to do with your mental health. So that's basically what emotional abuse is about. I've gone through a lot of research, and I've seen emotional abuse among children in the workplace, and I've even written a tract about it. And it's about a girl that her mother placed the blame on her. I think her mother got married, and then her mother got married, gave birth to her, and then got divorced, and then she started blaming the girl that it's because of you, that's why my life did not move forward. It's because of you. No, the mother was not married. I think she was 18 when she gave birth to her. It was a long time. I wrote it was 18. She was 18 when she gave birth to her, and she was like, it's because of you, that's why I did further my education. I wanted to be a pilot, all of that. So anything she does, stupid child, this, that. So that child was going through torture, but then when she gets to school and she's crying, your mother beat you. That's what people will ask you. Did he beat you? That's the first thing. If you go to report any sexual and gender-based stuff, they say, did they beat you? Did they hit you? But then the emotional abuse, which is also psychological abuse, is actually there. So it's a big issue, and we really need to talk about it.
Okay, you just spoke about emotional abuse. I'd like to understand the thin line or difference. Maybe you should help us draw difference or discrepancy between emotional abuse and scolding, because sometimes while trying to scold a child, you might not really literally use cane to flog the child, but of course, you might want to say one thing or the other that might trigger some sort of emotions within that child or whoever you're scolding. So help us draw a thin line between or difference between the scolding and emotional abuse.
Okay, so I will draw the line. I'll draw this line between discipline and love. You know, there's a way you discipline a child that the child knows that this thing the child has done is bad. You know, there's a way you can scold the child that the child will not even want to answer question when the child gets to school the next day, because the child, a lot of low self-esteem, everything will be going into the, is that how I am? You know, some parents will say, useless child, you know, so I'm useless, so I'm not worth anything. So that is a problem for the child. So emotional abuse, so scolding, there's a thin line between it, and it depends on the way you actually scold the child. If you tell the child, if you use some derogatory words on the child, then that is emotional abuse. So emotional abuse has a lot to do with scolding, but it depends on the way you scold the child. So there's a thin line between love and discipline. So there's a way you can discipline the child with love. Like I always tell parents that if you want to discipline your child, there's a way you can do it with love. Tell the child, this thing and this thing is what you have done. That is the reason why I'm angry with you. That is the reason why I spanked you. But then when you don't tell the child that this and this is what the child has done, you just begin to be, and that's what a lot of parents do. They just, they just, anything that is close to them, they just hit the child with it. And then I was discussing with some people that the way our parents trained us is not the same way you can train a child now. And they were just a lot of no, this and that, and the same way I will kill my child, I will do this. And I'm like, it's not the same way. There's a way you can scold. There's a way our parents scolded us. The person even cited an example of how the father treated him and all of that, and today he's okay, today he's better. And I'm like, if you train your child that same way, you know, a lot of things will go wrong in the mind of that child. Because number one, a lot of things are different now. The environment is different, the weather is different, the food is different, a lot of things, scientifically a lot of things are different now. The child goes to school, meets other people and all of that. The interaction is different, the exposures are different. So when you now treat your child in that way that your father or your mother has treated you and say, oh no, you must do this, you must do that, then that child now goes into a cage of their own self, their own thoughts. And then today we don't have therapists. It's mommy church or daddy church. It's not like we don't have in the environment. A lot of people don't like to take their children to therapists. Yes. So they be like, oh no, let's take them to mommy. Let them pray for that child. There's a demon, but you are the main cause of that.
Okay, now, what are the other examples? I know Victoria mentioned one of scolding. I said there's a thin line between love and discipline. So I'd like to know, what are the other examples of emotional abuse that we can be talking about?
There are a lot of examples of emotional abuse, and there's gaslighting, that's manipulating. Okay. This happened in the workplace. I've seen, in fact, me and my friend were just talking about it before I came. So her boss, thank God people don't know her, so I can say it. So her boss usually, when our boss is about to pay her, our boss will start telling her the problems that she have. That hey, my child, my this, my that, like after she pays her, so she will now be expecting her to return some money back to her. So she usually does that. Oh, my this, and this is not a small organization, but the boss will always come and say, we are going through this, this organization, we need this, we need that, and then she has to now bring out of the money that she's been paid, not minding her transport fare and everything, and gives it her. So she now begins to wonder that this is becoming a pattern. At some point she was like, my boss, the woman will collect it. She'll be like, my boss, I donated. I just like, why is it that your boss is always coming and you're always donating, to your boss and all of that? And she was like, no, I'm doing, and I said, okay, it's okay, since you are doing it from your heart. But when it became a pattern, I called her attention. I said, this thing is becoming a pattern. So this, I think it was last month when they were about to pay her, because she left the job. Last month when they were about to pay her, the boss was doing almost the same thing again. Was telling her, this, we need this in our this, we need this in our that, we need food, we need this. And then she was like, oh no, I don't have enough to do that. And then it became a problem. The boss now was now harsh on her, was now saying mean words, you know, and all of that, guilt trip and everything, and then oh, I was the one that brought you up, oh, I was the one that brought you, if not for me, you know, if not for me, you will not be here. Those are the kind of words they use. If not for me. And the lady said, okay, it's because I'm here, that's why. Okay, then I left. And she left the job. Now she has started her own organization where she cooks and she's making her money. So I would say that there are a lot of it. There's body shaming, there is threat, there's a whole lot. There's a lot. there's a whole lot to when it comes to emotional abuse, humiliation, body shaming. Body shaming is a serious one that goes on even in schools. I did a talk in a school on body shaming where, you know, a student just dress up and come to school and they're like, this happens to mostly children that wears glasses and children that are on the big side. So they'll be like, you look at how you are fat. Look at how you are this. If I do this, you know, a lot of things that they say to themselves. And this is a very big issue because most times if you see those people that are on the big side in schools, they don't get to answer questions in class. If you look at, they don't answer questions in class. They don't talk. You know, they stay quiet, and that's because you look at how fat you are, or now Agbi she chop before she comes to school. You know, there are a lot of things they say. Even those that wear glasses, they'll tell you you wear bottle. 12 o'clock eyes. So a lot of things that people say these days, and yes, their it's body shaming, and it's wrong because those things have harmful effect. You get to see that some people are losing their weight. Those are signs to know that a person is a victim.
Okay, before we go to the signs, let's look at those people that perpetrate some sort of emotional abuse. Do you think it's something they are aware of? Because you made an example of someone being manipulated, and they do it oftentimes, they do it repeatedly. Do you think in a way they are aware of what they are doing, or it's perhaps not self-conscious?
A lot of them are aware. I would say a lot of them are aware, but some are not. Some inherited it from maybe their parents or people close to them. You know, their parents will be like, or even some parents do it to their children without knowing because their parents did it to them, you know, and all of that. So some people do not know. Why some know, but then it's called 419, you know.
Perhaps being smart,
being crafty, you know. So they know that is what it is, but then they are still doing it. So we have a lot of perpetrators that are doing it. They know that it is wrong, but they just imagine this boss. You think she doesn't know that it's wrong? Okay, a lady goes to work, she takes her transport, she does all of these things for you, and at the end of the day, you still want to take that little that she has. It just feels like you want to suck everything that she has, you know, suck her dry. So I feel like some people know that it is wrong, but some people feel like it's like for her now, she feels like the lady is paying her back for bringing her into the work space, or I don't know what, you know, a lot of people are entitled. They just feel like I'm the one that owns your life just because you help them at one point in their lives. So they feel like I'm the one that, you know, I own your life. I helped you to do this. I helped you to do that. Thank you. If not for me, you wouldn't have gotten to where you are now. So this thing you must do it for me. That particular one you must do it for me, and it's a big problem. Some know why, some don't know. So that's the reason why we're here. So if you have been doing that, please stop it. It's wrong.
Okay, now from what you've been saying now, I think my brain is trying to let me know that there are some kind of jokes that are like emotional abuse.
Yes.
So are we going to categorize, like for example, you mentioned the fact about the eye stuff.
Yeah.
I have a friend that she can't see properly without her glasses, and she makes fun of herself. And in the process of making fun of herself, I also make fun of her. So, and we laugh over it. So it's not drawing my attention to the fact that maybe could that be a form of emotional abuse, or could we say for her it's not an emotional abuse because she laughs over it and she makes fun of herself, but so for some people it could be a form of emotional abuse.
A lot of people have overcome it.
Okay.
Overcome the pain, the shame.
Okay.
So it's okay when somebody just says that to them and they're like, I know. Because I insult myself with it. Just like you say now, you're Lois, you're short, and I'm like, I'm short, I know. You know, that's like, you know, that's because a lot of people, because I've overcome there's something you can say to me now. I have something to say to you too. You know, I have something to say to you, and I don't feel bad.
Okay.
Because I've overcome it. But there are some people that are still in the process of overcoming that shame, overcoming that pain. So somebody was pregnant, and you know, during pregnancy, your hormones and everything, you grow bigger and everything. She was slim, but when she got pregnant, she became bigger. And that was a problem for her because she was bigger and, you know, all of that. So people are like, so you can fat like this? That's after giving birth and everything. So people, a lot of things people say to, and the problem is, if people outside say these things to you, it's not paying you, but when your husband says it to you, then it's a problem, because then your husband is like, this is not the kind of woman I married, though. You were slimmer, but who did this to her? You did it together, so things like that. For those people that they were not like that, but they grew into it. Some people, it is due to grief. I heard a woman that due to grief, she started eating. She didn't know how to handle grief and all of that. Who even knows how to handle grief? So, she just started eating and she became bigger and everything. And people had a lot of things to say about her. Oh, you are this. Oh, what are you wearing? The body shaming. It's a serious issue. So some people are in the process. Why some people have overcome it. And you don't overcome everything as an individual. You may have overcome the one they say for your eyes. But the one they said for your leg, you are still in the process of getting through it. So when they say, your leg, look at how your leg is bowed or something like that, it just makes you feel bad. It takes you to a bad place. And one thing I've gotten to understand is that sometimes when people say something bad about you, and you just begin to think about other bad things that are in your life, and it causes depression, causes suicide. It's a big issue for me. Something small the person just said, and then you just begin to...
It triggers other things.
Other things, thank you. It triggers other things in your mind, and because of that, it just grows into something that you cannot handle. From there, you go into sadness, depression, bitterness, and suicide comes. So it's bad when you just look at people and just tell them things. I like big bags, so I was going with my bag and I was going somewhere, and just say, you get food inside. I'm serious. Last week, you get food inside this bag. You get food inside this bag. Why is your bag big like this? And I told the person, I said, what's it be your business? Why Nigerians don't like to mind their business? I had something to say, but some people, they're like, I just got this bag. Why would you say that? And I just spent my last money to buy this bag.
Does it mean it's not worth it?
Does it mean, the way you say you get food, am I slim? Is something wrong with me?
Or should I not eat?
Should I not eat? A lot of things come to mind. I don't know what that person is going through. Just say things, and at the end of the day, the person is talking about suicide. The person dies. I say, I saw this person last week and we were joking. You think you were joking with that person, but the things you said hurt that person. So jokes are also part of the. So you have to watch the joke and the kind of person you are saying. If you say it to me, or you're my close friend, and you say, "Oh, Lois, you are short," I know. That is okay. But you don't even know me from anywhere, exactly. And you're like, you are short, and I'm like,
when do we get here?
From where to where?
All right, you just said, like, for one, I wouldn't know that people really go through anything like emotional abuse. Yes, because I didn't feel like there's anything in my dictionary about that. So how do we know when people when we are undergoing emotional abuse? How do people get to identify it? How do they know that they are being abused emotionally of some sort?
Okay. There are ways to know, especially in yourself. It's just that most times people don't get to know that it was the abuse that caused it. They just feel like, it's something that is happening in their life, and people just see what is happening in their life, and the person is just telling them. While some people forget that people project their problems on them. You can have a problem and you just project it on another person. But that's not what the person is going through. That is what you are going through. So you're telling me, my husband is angry. You now start saying, men, then you're generalizing. That is your husband. That's not my husband. So when you get to see people projecting things on you, and then you now, number one, fear, anxiety, you're afraid. Like I was saying earlier, you're afraid. This marriage I want to go into. This thing. That. You're afraid. You begin to see anxiety. That's number one. You're afraid. Some people begin to lose weight because they lack appetite. When you start telling them, you're too fat or something, then they say, my friends say I'm too fat, so let me not eat. So they begin to, and from there, ulcer sets in, and a lot of things happen. So there's even the short-term effect, there's a long-term effect. The long-term effect is when you have been overflogging the issue, and it becomes suicide and all of that. But then the short-term effect is just the fear, a lot of people want to isolate you, so you feel alone. They want to isolate you from your family. Some men do that. They want to isolate you. They want to control you. So you are feeling like you're in a cage. If you want to go out, say, I cannot go out. I cannot call this person. Let me call my husband before I call this person to ask if I can call. Some people, their husbands go as far as going to their workplace to check if they're at work. You just want to control them, control their finances, control all of that. It's also emotional abuse. So Those are the short-term effects. Those are, that's how to know that you're a victim. When you begin to, know it in yourself, self-esteem. You are called to come and talk. Normally you are jovial. You're happy to meet your family. You are happy to, but after some time, when you're not afraid, then you begin to know that, okay, this is a sign and I should watch it.
Well, what we're saying now, there are some people that always say that if you don't call people out, I won't even say call people out, or if you don't talk to some people in a particular manner, they are not going to be bold. Because, for example, a parent, for example, has a child that is timid, and every time the parent feels like the solution to this thing is for me to always cajole you, scold you, shout at you, stop being timid, stop being this, speak up. And there's in the manner in which you're speaking to the child, and maybe someone is possible like, why are you talking to that child like that? I said, it's too they fear around me, me is strong, that kind of thing. Does it really work for some people, or does it have an adverse effect on them?
I would say that from what I've seen, I don't know if it's correct, but 60% of those children, it has an adverse effect on them. While when you don't do the go come out, go, all of those things, and you do it in form of words of affirmations, it helps. Because even me as an adult, I use words of affirmation. Oh, I'm okay, I'm beautiful. You use those words. Teach your children, let them learn it. Use stick notes. That can help. Instead of you telling them, you're not even sharp, you don't do this. By telling that child that, you're telling the child that the child is useless, so that the child is this. So we say, since my mama say I'm not sharp, make I just go come out there where I did. That can even return the child back, instead of moving forward. So there's a way. It's just that a lot of people do not want to learn. They don't want to go for conferences. They don't want to read. They don't want to, because at parental conferences, there are places you can actually learn some of these things, but a lot of people do not want to learn. They'll say that the one my mama use, I no die. Now me see, maybe now me be this, now me dey sham. But then the world that time, it's not the same as now. Yeah. In those days, there are things you can just do and go free with. There are things you can say and everybody is okay. But now, there are things you cannot say, there are things you cannot do, especially even in the public. So it's something that parents really need to understand and step down on. If you want to talk to a child, oh, this thing you have done, it's wrong. If you do it this way, this is what it will cost. If you do it this way, this is what it. But some parents will be like, if you do that thing, you don't tell the child, you don't explain to the child why this thing is wrong, because you are angry at that moment. You just want to vent the anger, and that is not even the right time to vent your anger. Because they say, no, we know they flog our children now. Let's start using words. So they use words to now, cause inferiority complex in that child. But they don't know that that's what they're causing. They think they're correcting the child. So there's a thin line between it. So you need to now watch it. Oh, I'm angry. Let me keep quiet. When I'm ready to talk to this child, I'll talk to this child the right way. It's not easy. It's usually not easy, because at that point you just want to say everything in your mind and let that child know that you're angry. But then it's very important to just, even not to a child, to your colleague at work, to people at work. There's a way you can talk to. When you're angry, be like, okay, I'll come back to talk to this person. But when you just begin to vent your anger and say a lot of things, then it's a problem.
Okay, at this point we have to go on a short break.
Okay.
All right, viewers, we'll be going on a short break, and when we return, Engendered continues. We will be right back.
Well, thanks for joining us again. If you're just joining us, you're still watching Engendered. Just before we went on that break, we were discussing, of course, emotional abuse, and we're doing this with our newlywed, All right, let me ask this question. In our day-to-day living, as we live as individuals, in our relationship, in our workplace, in our family, there's no way we can actually avoid conflict. It's part of human nature. It's part of human living or existence. So how do we cope with conflicts, in the sense that as we are quarreling, as we are trying to solve an issue, we don't tend to reach conflict and go into abusing the next person, so that it doesn't have an adverse effect on that person, rather that we quarrel and settle the issue in context.
Okay. I would say this goes back to self-control again. And trust me, this happens to each and every one of us. It's not nice, and it's not something that I would say is easy, but it's something that we are all learning if you are actually teachable. Like me, now I'm learning seriously, not to vent my anger on people, but to be quiet. To be quiet, to listen to myself. If I say this, you know, at the end of the day, are they words that I would want to take back?
But some people get really offended when you're silent.
Yes, when you're silent.
Yes, it's kind of offensive.
They still want you to say something. Yes. And I think those are the people that they are troublemakers. Because at that point, anything I will say, there are words that I want to take back after that particular issue. So there are things that I would not want to just say. But when it's time for you to defend yourself, I feel like it's good to defend yourself, but try to choose your words carefully. But when you are angry, it's now difficult to choose your words at that particular time. So I would say that it's very important that a person is controlled fully. Just control yourself. You know, take a deep breath in. When I'm angry, you know, take a deep breath, make sure that you are okay at that particular point in time to defend yourself. Because there's some people that, okay, I was talking to somebody, she got me really offended, and then as I was talking, she was recording the conversation. Some people are like that, so they want to use it against you. That this was what you said, you threatened me, you did this, you did it at this particular point in time. So the person wanted to use it against me, and me, I knew that she was that kind of person. So I was choosing my words carefully, and as I was talking, I would say, yes, ma, what did you, ma? So I was so conscious, you know, that because she's like that. So I was conscious that no, let me not say anything that at the end of the day this woman will be like, oh, she threatened me, she said this about me, she said that about me. So some people are like that. They make you angry so that they can put you in a trap, and at the end of the day you say things that you're not supposed to say and you're in trouble. We see a lot of those stories out there. You hear some people die and say, oh, is that person that threatened? Well, you didn't even know anything, just because you guys were having conflict, and that's the reason why. So but I would want to say this is one of the things that I used to control myself. I used to tell myself that it's not about the person, it's about the issue. So that's what I tell myself. Okay, the both of us are friends, you know. So it's not about that person, it's about that issue. So let's sort out the issue. That thing that is causing the problem, let's sort it out. So if we're at work and you know you were supposed to report something as journalist people used to do, you know, and you're supposed to, and the person did not come early, you know, there were probably some issues that caused that person not to come early. Maybe transportation, one thing or the other may cause it. So try to listen to the person. You don't know what the person is going through, you don't know what was happening. So try to listen to the person, and when you are conversing with the person, control yourself. You know, so it even shows that you're matured. If you can control yourself when there's a big issue, shows that you are matured. But when you cannot control yourself, you just begin to say words. You just go back to your village. Like some people say, don't allow me to go back to my village. You know, you just go back to your village, and you see words are not enough for you. Now go back to your language and start firing the person and all of that. So it's not even about that moment. It's about afterwards. Would you be able to see that person and have a conversation with the person? Because the person would never forget that thing you've said. You have said it, and though you want to come back and start joking with the person, but later when something happens, the person will remind you to show you that the person did not forget. I remember that thing that you said, though, and you know, I've written it down. I know that this, and if something happens to me, I know you. But then you just said it due to carelessness. I'll say it's carelessness, because anger is a very bad thing, and I think it's one of the reasons why sexual and gender-based violence, I've not seen any intimate partner violence, I've not seen any domestic violence that didn't start from emotional abuse. It always starts from emotion. That's the foundation of almost all of these things that you see. Conflict in homes, conflict in countries, even some of all these issues that you see that countries are having with each other. It starts from what we say to each other. It starts from there before you say, okay, let's now start going physical. So that is like the bedrock of everything. So what are we saying to each other? Are we really checking our conversations as individuals? You know, are we checking our conversations? That's very important. What are you saying? What are you saying? Are you talking to that person, or you are dealing with that issue? So let us do this report, or you are saying you're stupid. That means you're actually insulting that person, not having the conversation around what is going on. And when you are now insulting that person, you can't move forward with what you're doing. At the end of the day, no success is made. So what are you doing? Let's work on what we are doing. After we finish what we're doing, then we can now come back to ourselves. And the job is not even about individuals. It's about the work. So when we're done, then we'll come back to how nice everybody is supposed to be and how social we're supposed to be.
Okay, I would like to ask a question, and I'll make reference to a story that a friend shared. And the story was that there are some people that feel like, for example, we are friends. And something, and I'm laughing, I just call you goats, big head. see your yam leg, all those kind of things. They make comments like that, and it then goes down to normal friends, and then goes down to partners. You see, maybe your boyfriend is calling you, see your chicken leg, see your goat head, you know, get sense, they mad, all those kind of things. And for them, they feel like it's cool. I'm just joking with you. They'll say, I'm free with you. That's why I'm saying all this is to you. But the next person is not used to that kind of joke. I've been in that situation before. I'm not used to that kind of joke. I wasn't used to that kind of, let me use words. Because at the point,
now you're used to it.
At the point, it just became now because I saw.
No, it just I think it depends on who is even saying what.
Exactly.
So at that point,
yeah.
It was not a situation. So the person was sharing her story and complaining that she's having an issue in a relationship because she's not cool with her partner, always making reference to her like goats. But he said it and he laughs. His friends too, is a word that they use, but she's not used to that kind of thing. And she's complaining, and he says things like, you're too uptight, you're not free, like it's not how will I explain it?
Don't tell me I'm too uptight, you're deflecting me.
So comments like that, but the guy feels like it's cool and I'm just playing with you. I don't mean it like you're a goat, but it's just a word I use like to play with you.
What did I say that made you say I'm a goat?
No, for example, we're just teasing ourselves and playing. I'm like, I'm not cooking for this. You say, come on, you be goats. Why you go do that kind of thing? You get like today.
I think the only person that I have ever had to like say something like that to me, like maybe just one, Sule. Just slang. That's I've never had anybody had to like use a very abusive, because I will come for you. Like I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like
I can't
it.
stand it.
I don't like it. So if you start telling me that that's how we used to joke here, that's how I will tell you joke with other people like that. Don't joke with me like that, because me I take it serious.
They'll say you are too principled.
Then when you start telling me I'm being too principled, then you are gaslighting me. You're trying to manipulate me into doing what I don't want to do.
Being principled, because the most word I usually hear about it is maybe you're not free, you're uptight, you don't know how to take a joke, or some. Those are the kind of comments. This thing has caused a problem between two people, a boyfriend and a girlfriend. He feels is a word that I'm free with you. We're joking. I don't mean you're a goat. I'm just using that slang on you. But the girl feels like I can't take it in. So now we get to a point where the girl feels like I can't take this relationship because of this. The guy say if she can't be free with me, then let's.
They were not made for each other. Do you know like where my mind is going to in all of these things you're saying is the fact that they don't know each other.
Okay.
Because we're in a relationship. When we're in a relationship, it's a time to get to know each other. So we don't know each other. So why are we here? This is something I don't want. You should have known that about me, and you should not do that to me. If you're doing it to me, shows that you're manipulating me or you're making me feel bad. And I've told you over and over again that this thing you're doing to me, I don't like, and you keep doing it to me. Then it's a wrong thing to do. It's a wrong thing to do. So it's just like okay, that is a joke. It's just like you're giving me something, and you just create. Okay, let's take it to this. Okay, your phone. You don't like me handling your phone. And then I pick your phone and I'm going through your phone. I've told you several times, I don't want you holding my phone, but you call me a goat. The same way it pains you that you call me a goat, it's the same way it pains you that I pick your phone. It's the same way it pains me when you call me a goat. So some people don't know that there are things that I can take and there are things I cannot take.
Okay.
So the moment you state that out, we're in a relationship. These are the things I do not want. These are the things that I want in this relationship. And this is something that a lot of people don't like to do. Along the line, we go, no waiting. But we go adjust. But then at the end of the day, there are things you cannot take. But you say, the wedding don't already reach. No, just enter. At the end of the day, we go they learn now. But then he keeps calling you a goat, and then it takes your mind back. That am I really a goat? This is how goat used to behave. You know, like that's how people like that. Okay, that's me. I tend to analyze a lot of things. Like this is how goat be. This is how they eat. Is that how I eat?
They say you're overthinking.
Don't tell me that thing, please. I feel bad because you tell me, I beg, you're just useless. You know, some people will just, some people can be joking and say, Jesus, you're just useless, and they just laugh and everybody laughs. Useless.
It's a very big word.
No, it's a big word. Some people cannot. Some people can take it. It's okay for some people that let's just joke around it. For some guys, you be good, carrot. You know, they can just insult themselves. But no, don't insult.
But isn't that a problem that you do something for like you call me like no, I'm definitely not a goat, but you call someone a goat like one time, but say I don't like it, don't do it again, and they don't really take correction. Isn't that a problem?
It's because they are used to it.
They're selfish.
It's because thank you, they are selfish. It's because some of them are used to it in their past relationships. It was probably doing that to the girl before her, and then when she came in, it was like let's just continue. But then people unlearn and relearn.
Absolutely.
And that's what a lot of people do not want to do. Why in a separate relationship, my face does not look like that past girl's face. The way we walk, the way we act, our exposures are not the same. I come from this, she comes from that. I studied this in school. This person I studied human anatomy in school. You cannot tell me I'm a goat and I will take it from you. Anatomy talks about the structures of the body. So you can't tell me I'm a goat. You can't tell me I'm this and I'll take it from you. I take things a little seriously from other people. But then there are things you can now tell me, and that will be a joke for me, and that will be a joke for you, and then we begin to learn how to. But when you now start using those things, and I'm telling you that it is wrong, and you're still telling me that it's a joke, that's how you people do, you will go and find the people that you are doing that thing with.
I want to talk about the to draw more on the effect now, the long-term effect, because even as adults, sometimes we feel like we have grown to a certain level, so you should be able to understand. For example, me for once, I think I've gotten to a point where no matter what you want to say about me, I know me, my friends know me, and I always work on my intentions. So if my intention did not mean what you're talking about, I don't want to bother about it. Before I used to ponder about it and I will have sleepless nights, but right now I don't want to use a word, but I really don't care. That's what I would just say. So we move on like that. But now do we now deal with people that have grown up to be adults and still can't take these things? You know, you see, you come online, people use some kind of words on social media, people go back and dwell on it, they have sleepless night because of this. I said something somewhere one time and I was like, I know who I am, so there's nothing you want to say that will affect me, but there's some people that are still very sensitive. Let me use for example now, the trending stuff that is happening about Mohbad. Somebody made a comment that, okay, I think it was his friend Belashman that said that it got to a point where he was even scared of releasing in music because he felt he lost his self-esteem because of what he had been hearing and they'd be saying to him, and he felt like nobody was going to listen to him anymore and his music, so he was scared of even releasing any music. Now this is based on this, but before I even get to the physical abuse, based on what they have told him emotionally, you know, if you make you know, reach other people for the industry and stuff like that. So now how do we make people understand that, okay, this thing, it's not just words of the mouth, I understand, but I can say it's just words of the mouth because I've put a shield around myself. How do we get them to build that confidence, to know that you don't have to be seeking validation from people that are not even valid? Do you get? So how do we build our self-confidence to that extent where people will not just use their words to bring down our self-esteem, do not use their words to hurt us, to make us depressed, to make us sad, to make us valid in life?
I would say that, why should I come into your space and try to now start shielding myself? That is a bad thing to do. I come into a space like this, and I'm now thinking, hey, Chidinma will say something now, let me brace myself. That is the wrong thing to do. You go on Twitter, you want to type, some people in that place, they're not okay.
They're really not. Like, sincerely speaking,
like you enter into a space and you just want to say what is on your mind, and somebody is just waiting to attack you. I feel like that is wrong. And I feel like the Cybercrime Act in 2015 needs to start, you know, implementation needs to start. Because I know cyberbully, I think cyberbully is 1 year imprisonment and a fine. I think it's 2 million naira fine. And if it's more than that, you can go for 25 years imprisonment and then 10 years, 25 million and then 10 years imprisonment, something like that, because I was reading around and I saw it a while ago, so I can't fully remember what it is, but you can go and check, just type on Google Cybercrime Act 2015, you see it is there. So if somebody does that to you, there's an organization, I've forgotten their name, you know, one of my friends works there, a childhood friend, she works there, they help to, even Tech Her, yes, Tech Her is an organization, NGO, they help to fight all of those people. So I feel like we need to start talking to those people that are not using their head. I'm sorry, but some people are not trying. I just come out to say what is on my mind. Every time I come into a Twitter space, I will now try to start bracing myself. Hey, somebody wants to say something bad about me, and that is not how I should feel. It's a community where love should be shared and should spread around everybody. Not to start, okay, let me brace myself, let me do this. So I would advise, I think TECA is an organization you can report to, cyberbully. There's another organization, I think, I've forgotten the name of that organization. They also work, I think it's DevTop or something. They also work around something like that. So if you go through things like that, please report. Let them handle them, because it's one thing for me to be facing something in my life, and then I should start adding the fact that I should shield myself. I should start, you know, it's a good thing to shield yourself. It's a good thing to, you know, to put yourself in a space where if people say things about you, to not really affect you. And that's because we're in Nigeria. A lot of people don't think like that. They just do their things normally. And there's a pattern to life. It should be love shared, hate speech. Hate speech should not be present in the things that we say. But some people, they just think, yeah, let me just say this because this person has made me offended. Or some people, you didn't even do anything to them, but the way you look is just so nice. Jealousy, they just say things to you. So it's very important that we look into perpetrators, people that are saying these things. If somebody has said anything to you, your nudes are out there. The organizations you can report to. When they begin to blackmail you, emotional blackmail, blackmail, in itself. When people begin to say those things to you, it's very important that you report. Go to those organizations, tell them. There are law enforcement agencies that you can go to. You can go to NAPTIP. I think NAPTIP too takes cases like this. I'm not sure, but you can go to NAPTIP, report the case to them, and then it's important because we're in Nigeria. We can't run away from it. It's important that we also brace ourselves. We talk ourselves into. Confidence, talk ourselves into self-esteem.
I was telling Pamela yesterday, I said, this is your high self-esteem, because the way she praises and adores herself, so it shows that even on herself, nothing you are going to say on this life, on this earth, that is going to get through in terms of hate speech or whatsoever, because I see her loving herself so much that she even adores herself, and that high esteem is there. So let's talk about let's say help for those who are victims of emotional abuse. Do you think, like, I know we're in a country where therapy is kind of not often talked about. Recently I met someone who had seen a contact card of someone, and he went to see the counselor to perhaps help, because he was having anger issues, and it's because of the people according to him, the people he had met in the past. He stopped trusting people. He couldn't talk to people, and whenever he see crowds, he gets really angry and want to hit somebody or something like that. So do you think, like, for emotional abuse, is there a time where you need help or you need to see a therapy?
Yes.
Is it really important?
Okay, so I would say that there are solutions to helping yourself, and the first thing is run. Run. That's the first thing to do. If you are working in a place where that is happening, report to the HR. If nothing is being done about it, the person is saying it today, the person will work on it tomorrow. The person is saying, I will slap you today, I would stab you today. Tomorrow the person will do it too. So it's important to run. Leave that space where you don't feel comfortable. Leave that space where you don't feel happy. It's very important that you connect yourself. Even before you even get to therapy, there's some people that you're comfortable around them. When you are talking with them, you're happy. Things, they are good networks. So it's important to surround yourself with those type of people. Dorcon is that person for me. Mimi is that person for me. They are my friends. So if something is going on in my life, I can just, talk to her. When I came, you were asking, how is Dorcon? There are people that I can talk to. So surround yourself with those kind of people that whenever things like this happen, you can easily talk to them. Because sometimes you'll be thinking, therapist, how much will I pay? All of this and all of that. So surround yourself with people that love you. That's one thing to do. And then you can also see the therapist. You can, I don't have any number of anybody because I've not gotten to that stage first. But I think I've met someone who is a therapist. Yes, I have. I met someone, and then she does it very well. So you can meet with some of these people and they can help you. Even organizations. I feel like NGOs that say they work on mental health and they don't have therapists, or they have their sexual and gender-based organization, they don't have therapists. I feel like they're not doing so much. There was a case that was reported to an organization. I would not want to mention the name of the organization. It was a rape case or something that later led into pregnancy and all of that. And the person came to report the case to her that it led into pregnancy. And the person just said, what do you want to do? The person said, I want to abort it. He said, go and abort it. I'll follow you and go and abort it. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Let the person meet with a therapist. Let the person understand where they are at that moment. Let the person break the stages into two. I'm not saying abortion is not what you should do, but then there are stages to go, tell the person, okay, this and this is what you can do, this and this. Are you sure you want to? Are you sure? Let the person meet a good therapist that can assist the person at that particular point in time. Don't just say, oh, that's what you want to do. At the end of the day, when the person aborts and they say, oh my God, I feel sad, then you too, you have taken part in that thing that happened to that person. So it's very important that you see therapists, meet people that have studied it in school, not people that will just want to tell you, this thing has happened to me. The way it happened to you is not the same way it's happening to that person. That's what a lot of people forget. The way it's happening to you, it's not the same way it's happening to that person. Your own sexual and gender-based violence happened to you in so place, and this was what the person said, but that's not what the person is saying to me. So the way we sometimes, because you feel like you have an organization, NGO and all of that, you just drop into whatever the person is going through. I say, I understand what you are going through, this and that, so this is what you should do. No, it's very important that you let the person see a therapist if you have not done any course. Like for me now, I'm certified. Certified by Federation of International Gender and Human Rights and all of these things. I even studied mental health. So we did some of these as courses. So when we meet with you, we know what to say to you. We know how to, we allow you to speak. Some people say, oh, I've been through what you have been through. Because I don't know, maybe you're looking for funding, or I don't know what some organizations are doing these days. So I would just say that it's important. I have an organization, so Good Tides Philippine Missions Foundation. I would say that it's important that we also have organizations and we help people. But then the way we go about helping these people is very important. You don't just say, oh yeah, now let's go and abort. Oh yeah, let's do this. Oh yeah, make the person understand that this state you're in. Are you okay? What is going on? Speak to the person. Go understand what the person is going through, and then you can now say, okay, this is what can happen. This is what can happen. Or don't even predict to the person. If you do this, these are the consequences. If you do this, these are the consequences. Are you sure that you want to do this? Then let the person make the choice by themselves. Don't just say, okay, yes, no. There's a way you go through these things. If not, at the end of the day, you'll be part of those emotionally abusing that person.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for your session. Lois can talk on and keep on.
Yes!
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
And I think I also like to lay emphasis on what you said about people that you can speak to even if you don't want to get to a therapist.
Yeah.
I saw something yesterday on social media, and it was talking about in aspects of religion and Christianity, and said if you're trying to build up a fire altar, don't have fire extinguishers around you as friends. So if you're trying to build up, like if you're even going to talk to people about this kind of issues, make sure that there are people that have the right words and they can encourage you and also build you up. And I would say, please, like Lois said it, she said run. She's not joking. It messes with your brain. It makes you like the effects are so much. Low self-esteem, you bully people, you intimidate people. We're talking about it like it's a joke, but it's not a joke. We're talking about the current stuff that is trending more bad. It didn't just start from physical abuse. Also, emotional abuse was there. Like it started all from there, and I don't want to go into that aspect of the story because it has been an emotional trauma for me actually. But I just want to say this: your life first. If you're going through that phase, you feel like you can't be in that space. You've not braced up yourself. You don't have the shield to cover yourself. You can't take in the bullets. Leave that space. It's not healthy for you. It's toxic. If you're not careful, you can make into a bad person, and then you in turn can also be an abuser to another person, and it's not good for our society. Please show love. You only have one life. Just show love to people around you. Stop the hate speech. Stop bullying. Stop intimidating. Stop abusing people. If I tell you I don't like when you call me a goat, don't call me a goat. I beg. Don't call me. Don't do it. It's not a safe place for me and you. Please, that's all we can take on today's episode of Engendered. Do well to join us next time for an interesting episode. I remain Chidinma Ufomadu.
Well, I am Victoria Agbi. Until Thursday.
Bye. Bye.